Hi there, I'm Violet Van Hees and welcome to Grow Your Movement Freedom. And today I want to talk about something called Fright, the Tightness, which is very timely because it's Halloween coming up next week. So fright in our body often results in tightness in our body. So there's two kinds of fright tightness that I want to look at today. One of them is the fright from spooking, right? From where you have a kind of a spook response to something. And I happen to have horses with me today who are a really good demo of this kind of fright tightness. Another kind of fright tightness is tightness that comes from an injury or from a fright in your body where your body's worried that an injury might reoccur. So it's a situation where you've had an injury, it's in the past, you've healed up from it, but something happens like you trip or something happens like that and your body responds as if it needs to brace for that injury all over again. Both of these patterns of tightness can be useful in the moment where they're needed, but then they can get in the way if they keep happening over and over again after the actual event has happened or for a long time after the initial event has happened. So I want to look at this a little bit. So first of all, the startle response. I'm going to get my mare Shiraz to demonstrate this. You could see that, right? That was a startle. There we go. So that's a startle response. And you can see that her head came up and then she sort of jumped a little bit, and that's what we call a spook. Now the really great thing about a startle response is it is an initial response that sort of gears you up to do something. But then there might be a better way than this kind of tightness where you get tight in your back and your shoulders tend to come up into your neck. There might be a better way than that to actually respond to the world and get to work and do something. So for example, when I get on Shiraz and she spooks, then I get a little tight too. I kind of do a startle reflex. But I don't ride well when I'm like that. So what I'll do then is I'll calm down and I'll go into the breathing out, settling, and pressing my back into a towel. You might remember that from a couple of videos back. And so in that way, I can actually respond to the situation much more effectively. And so what I do is I practice coming down into the startle, out of the startle, into the place where I'm settled, where my back fills out, where I'm actually on my bones. And I practice doing that. So that becomes an easy go-to movement for me. So it's not that I'm never going to have a startle response. But I know that once I startle, that I have experienced that coming back down into the settled place works better for me to actually get out and get busy doing things. And I've practiced it enough so that it's easy for me to find it. Another kind of fright tightness that happens is around an injury site. So I'm going to use a personal example again. So last January, I fell on both knees on the cement on ice really hard. And that really shocked my system. It hurt in my knees and it shocked my system. I didn't actually break anything. I might have shook something up inside the knee. I know I shook stuff up inside the knee itself. And the joint itself still isn't 100%. But what happened at the time is I got this complete muscle spasm all the way through my leg that tightened up everything. And what that did, the useful purpose of that was to brace it. It was kind of acting as an immediate splint in my body to make sure that the leg was braced and that nothing further could really go wrong with it at the time. So that was smart for my body to do that. And then I was able to check out what was going on, and I was able to deal with it and address it with my medical folks and other things that I needed to do. But what was happening then after that is that if I just tripped lightly or something happened, like just walking across the floor and I sort of stubbed my toe, all of a sudden that same whole full-on muscle spasm bracing in my leg would happen. And that wasn't useful because that would just completely immobilize me. So I couldn't just catch myself from tripping lightly. I would end up having to sit down and wait for a couple of minutes for that to pass over. So to help that shift, I needed to spend time very gently, very quietly, letting my body explore what I was able to do comfortably and reasonably. So I actually would do things like go to exercise. And in the water, I would move my leg around. I don't know if you can see this, but I would just move it around in different ways, in different angles, in different places, slowly, quietly. And I'd just go onto the edge of what felt like it was a challenge or it was starting to tighten up, and then I'd back off. And by doing that, I could open up the range in which I could move comfortably. I've got a horse coming in to check out the bag again. You can hear her snort. There you go. That's a snort when a horse is checking something out and a little concerned. I just need to go get her out of there. Go. Go on. Good girl. All right. Back at it. So I was able to open up the range of what I could do. I showed you a video about that as well, where you get to open up your nervous system options gently, quietly, subtly, so that your nervous system can check out what actually is safe, that you are okay, that you can do things, and then is willing to go a little bit bigger next time. Rather than pushing into what you can't do, you gradually open up what you can do. So your tip for today is if you experience a fright tightness moment, where you trip and you feel a muscle or muscle seize up, or where you startle and you feel your back get tight and your shoulders tighten up, it's just take a moment and first of all make sure you're safe. So get yourself into a safe place if you're not, and then check out, are you okay? And can you breathe out and settle for a moment? And from that place of being settled, are you more able to take action? You want to check whether it's better to be here or if it's better to be here. Whether you have more ability to bring yourself back down by breathing out and settling and noticing if you are safe and if you can respond well from this place compared to from the tightness place. And can you gently open up the places where you're tight so that you can have more freedom to respond? Simply noticing that you get tight and how often you're tight is really useful. And noticing whether the breath out and feeling your bones and settling into your body again, feeling the ground, feeling your connection to the ground, feeling your ability to actually move on the ground and to be able to move out of a situation. Take action on what's going on here in a gentle, quiet way. All of those things help your body kind of go, hey, things are okay. I can return to a grazing state more now. And you can see what's it like to practice that skill of coming down so that you too can get all snoozy like this after having had a startle a little while before. Here's some more examples. We got a whole bunch of horses. We're just kind of hanging out, doing not too much right now. You can use that as a role model for what you'd like to come back to after a startle moment, after a moment of fright tightness. Thanks very much. Let me know what you find out. I've got a comments box down below now. I'd love to hear from you. Have fun exploring with this. Check out the additional resources under there. Get in touch if you have any questions. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye for now.